On average, nearly 90 pregnancy-related deaths occur in Illinois between 2018 and 2020. Local health officials have implemented policies to help drop this number.
23 News reporter Anthony Ferretti talks with some of those officials about the county's commitment to maternal health.
This data is part of the Illinois Department of Public Health's Maternal Morbidity and Mortality Report, which looks at maternal deaths statewide. And local health leaders tell me that they are not surprised by those numbers.
The challenge that we're faced with, it's not just simply prenatal care. We have excellent healthcare systems, but it's not sufficient.
Dr. Sandra Martell says the medical industry learns more every day about the social determinants of health, especially among expectant moms. The Illinois Department of Health says Black women are 2 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications.
Obesity, hypertension, underlying mental health disorders, and substance use disorders all contribute. And so what are we doing preconceptually, right, to care for women?
Dr. Martell believes Winnebago County does a good job at caring for mothers' health, but says we need to do more.
We need to have an early, I'm going to say, warning and detection system so that pregnant women can access care.
Some of the reasons that they cited for the increased risk of maternal morbidity are actually very true and accurate, especially here in the Rockford area.
Dr. Nicole McCauley at Mercy Health's Javon Bay Hospital says Mercy Health monitors these studies and puts policies in place to help mothers. This includes a program to check in on patients frequently, even after the baby is born.
Just committing to finding a doctor or a midwife that they feel that they have a connection with. I think committing to delivering within a hospital setting is exceptionally important in order to decrease the risk of maternal as well as, infant morbidity and mortality.
The IDPH reports that the leading cause of pregnancy-related deaths statewide is substance use disorder, and more information on this report can be found on IDPH's website.
Important stuff. Thank you, Anthony. And the WCHD encourages patients to partner with a healthcare team to better your care. One way is to write down where to call for pregnancy-related complications or concerns.